Amanda tilted the empty bottle in her hand and gave me a smirk. Oops, my bad. Slipped. Drops of wine fell from the bottle's bottom, hitting the carpet one by one. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Conversation stopped and suddenly all eyes were on me. The chandelier's harsh light reflected off the crystal stemware, stabbing at my eyes. I raised a hand and wiped my face. My fingertips came away sticky with wine. Amanda, what the hell are you doing? Jason's voice cut through the silence as he strode over quickly. The sleeve of his suit brushed against my arm, but I didn't move. I just stared at him. He looked at Amanda first, his brow furrowing briefly, then turned back to me, his mouth twisting downward. It's nothing. Don't make such a big deal of it. He reached out as if to grab me, but I stepped half a pace back. She's just a college girl. She doesn't know any better, he added. Amanda shrank behind him, brushing his shoulder lightly with hers in a coquettish gesture. I clenched the strap of my purse. Inside was a copy of our divorce agreement. The only reason I came tonight was to collect the final payment Jason still owed me. 3 months had passed since the divorce, and he had been stalling the entire time. My lawyer said he would definitely be here since his company was co-hosting the gala. I had planned to wait until he was done with business before approaching him. I never thought I would run into trouble within the first 10 minutes. Amanda peeked from behind Jason's shoulder, amusement flickering in her eyes without a hint of remorse. I lowered my gaze to the hem of my gown. The wine had seeped into the lining, plastering the fabric to my legs, cold as ice. Around me, whispers rose louder. Isn't that Jason's ex-wife? Who's that girl? She looks so young. Jason heard it, too. His face darkened. Enough. Break it up. What are you all staring at? He barked. Some people stepped back, though a few still stole glances. I pulled tissues from my pocket and dabbed at the wine. The paper turned soggy and red almost instantly. Jason stood nearby and said, I'll have my assistant find you a jacket. No need, I interrupted, my voice, raw from the wine fumes choking my throat. I tossed the wet tissue into the trash bin, then turned toward the back exit. My heels sank silently into the carpet. Behind me, I heard Jason sigh heavily, and Amanda whispered softly, Jason, I didn't mean it. I didn't look back. The lighting near the back door was dimmer. As I walked, I caught sight of a man in a black suit standing by a column, a wine glass in his hand, his eyes fixed on me. I ignored him and kept moving. All I wanted was a place to clean myself up. At the end of the corridor, I saw the restroom sign. Quickening my pace, I pushed open the stall door. The woman staring back at me from the mirror looked disheveled with red wine still dripping from her hair. The front of my gown was covered in red stains. I turned on the faucet, letting the cold water run over my hands until my fingertips went numb. Then pulled a few paper towels and dipped them in the water to dab at the fabric. I rubbed at the print on the dress for a long time, but the marks hardly faded. Just then, my phone buzzed inside my bag. I pulled it out and saw a message from my lawyer. Did you find Jason yet? I typed back quickly. I just got red wine dumped on me by someone next to him. I'm in the restroom now. I had barely sent the message when a knock sounded at the door. Miss Shen, may I trouble you for a moment? A male voice asked. Clutching my phone, I walked to the door and opened it a crack. It was the assistant of the man in the black suit I had seen earlier. Standing by the column, in his hands was a clean shawl. My employer asked me to bring this to you, he said politely. He thought you might want to cover up for now. I blinked in surprise, then accepted it. The shawl was soft cashmere, and as I wrapped it around my shoulders, warmth spread over me. Your employer is? I asked. You'll know soon enough, the assistant replied with a small smile. He also wanted me to tell you not to take what happened just now to heart. I nodded, though doubt flickered inside me. I didn't know this man at all. Why would he go out of his way to help me? The assistant continued, my employer also said that something important is about to happen in the hall. If it's convenient for you, you might want to return and see for yourself. I pulled the shawl tighter around me. Returned to see Jason and Amanda's smug faces again. To hear people whisper behind my back as if he sensed my hesitation, the assistant said gently. I understand you probably don't want to go back, but my employer believes some matters are best resolved face to face. I looked up at him. His expression was serious, not the slightest hint of a joke. The restroom's warm yellow light softened his features, making him look calm and sincere. "Take your time," he said. "I'll wait outside. If you'd rather not return, I can drive you home." Leaning against the restroom door, my mind spun in circles. Part of me wanted to leave this humiliating place at once, but another part of me burned with unwillingness. Why should I be the one to slink away after being drenched in wine? Why should Jason protect that woman and dismiss it as if Amanda were just some clueless college girl? I drew a deep breath, tossed the damp paper towels into the trash, and straightened the collar of the shawl. In the mirror, my eyes looked sharper than before. "I'll go back with you," I said. The assistant nodded. "Very well. Well, walk slowly. My employer said there's no need to rush." I followed him out of the restroom. The corridor was dim, our footsteps echoing faintly as the distant sound of music drifted from the hall softer than earlier. As we neared the entrance, the assistant paused. "My employer is waiting inside. You'll see him as soon as you step in." He gestured toward the brightly lit hall. I glanced inside. The chandeliers blazed overhead, almost blinding. Jason and Amanda were talking to someone, looking perfectly at ease, even cheerful. My grip on the shawl tightened. Fine, let's see what this man was talking about. I stepped into the hall, my heels sinking soundlessly into the carpet. The stairs turned toward me again, and whispers stirred among the guests, but I ignored them, letting my gaze follow the direction the assistant had indicated. The man in the black suit still stood by the column. He nodded slightly when our eyes met. I took 2 steps toward him, but from the corner of my eye, I caught Jason and Amanda noticing me as well. Amanda shrank behind him again, nudging his shoulder, while Jason frowned as if wanting to say something but holding back. Just then, the entire hall was plunged into darkness. The chandelier's light vanished in an instant. The murmurs around me died instantly, and someone let out a startled gasp. A few seconds later, the stage lights came on, casting a warm golden glow at the center. A man in a gray suit walked onto the stage with a microphone in hand. After clearing his throat, he said, "Everyone, may I have your attention? Next, we'll hear from Mr. Gu. Mr. Gu." My heart gave a jolt. That name sounded familiar. My lawyer had mentioned it before. The head of our company's new investor was surnamed Gu, a legendary figure in the industry, rarely seen in public. I lifted my gaze toward the stage just as the man in the black suit from earlier stepped up under the lights and accepted the microphone. It was him, the one I had seen standing by the column. So, this was Mr. Gu. His assistant leaned close to me and whispered, "This is my employer." I clutched the edge of my shawl, my fingers tightening slightly. Holding the microphone, Mr. Gu swept his gaze over the hall. The room fell so silent, it was as if even breathing had quieted. Jason and Amanda stood not far away. Amanda clung nervously to Jason's sleeve, while Jason's face had turned pale. Clearly, he hadn't expected Mr. Gu to show up tonight. After a pause, Mr. Gu began to speak, his voice steady through the microphone. "First of all, thank you all for coming to the charity gala. I hadn't planned to take up much of your time, but something just happened that I feel must be addressed." His gaze shifted in my direction, and with it, every eye in the room followed. I straightened my back, suddenly beginning to understand what Mr. Gu intended to say. Amanda took half a step back, lowering her head, not daring to look at the stage. Jason lifted his hand as if to stop her, then hesitated and let it drop. Mr. Gu tightened his grip on the microphone and his next words detonated like a bomb. "That college girl who just threw red wine." His voice carried across the entire hall. Amanda's shoulders jerked violently. "The one you offended is none other than the new chairwoman of our group subsidiary." For 2 seconds, the hall was dead silent. And then gasps rippled through the crowd. "What? The chairwoman's wife?" Someone whispered. "You mean the lady who just got drenched in wine?" Another asked. I stood frozen in place, feeling every pair of eyes stab into me. Not with mockery this time, but with shock and disbelief. Jason's face went completely white. He took a step forward, raising his hand as though to reach for me, but it hung awkwardly in the air, not knowing where to land. Amanda's grip on his sleeve loosened and she stumbled back a half step, nearly losing her footing. "No, that's not true." Amanda's voice trembled. I didn't mean it. I thought she was just what?" Mr. Gu asked. His tone carried no emotion, yet it cut Amanda's words short instantly. She lowered her head back, twisting the hem of her pink dress in her hands until the fabric wrinkled into a crumpled ball. Jason finally reacted. He hurried toward the stage, forcing a smile onto his face. Mr. Gu, surely there's been some mistake. She's just my ex-wife, Emily Shen. Your ex-wife, Mr. Gu interrupted. Jason was stopped before he could get closer. Mr. Gu's assistant stepped in front of him and said firmly, "There's no mistake, Mr. Chase. Miss Shen officially assumed the position of chairwoman of our group's subsidiary last month. She also represents one of our key partner companies. According to our group's bylaws, any core partner leader holds the same standing as the chairwoman's spouse." Jason's smile froze on his face. He turned to look at me, his eyes filled with shock. "Why you took over the group subsidiary?" He stammered. I didn't answer, only met his gaze. Back when we divorced, he had mocked me, saying I couldn't survive without him. That the little savings I had wouldn't even cover rent for 6 months. Now he finally realized that the woman he once dismissed as useless was no longer the same. Mr. Gu lifted the microphone again. "Mr. Chase," he said evenly, "about the collaboration your company wanted to discuss with us. I think we'll pass." Jason's face drained from white to ashen green. "No, Mr. Gu, please," he blurted out, panicked. "This is a misunderstanding. A complete misunderstanding. It has nothing to do with Emily, with Miss Shen. Our group doesn't cooperate with companies that disrespect their partners, Mr. Gu replied firmly. Jason's mouth opened, but no words came out. He stood rooted in place, sweat beading on his forehead. I knew. His company had been tight on funds lately. Securing a deal with Goose's group was his only lifeline, and now he had cut that rope with his own hands. Suddenly, Amanda burst into tears. She rushed to Jason's side, clutching his arm. "Jason, please talk to Mr. Gu. It was my fault. I'll apologize to Miss Shen. I'll pay for her gown. Just don't abandon me." Jason shook her off violently. "Don't touch me," he snapped, his voice harsh. "This is all your fault." Amanda stumbled and fell onto the carpet, her pink dress collecting dust as her sobs grew louder. The crowd around them only watched. No one stepped forward to help, though some quietly raised their phones, capturing pictures. Mr. Gu glanced at his watch, then told his assistant, "It's about time, have the staff clear the hall." The assistant nodded and went to make arrangements. Mr. Gu stepped down from the stage and stopped beside me. "Chairwoman Shen," he said calmly. "Would you like to rest in the lounge for a while?" I shook my head. "No need. There's still one matter I need to settle with Mr. Chase." I looked toward Jason. He was crouched beside Amanda, speaking to her in low tones. Her crying had softened, though she still hiccuped between sobs. Straightening my shoulders, I walked toward them, each step steady, my heels sinking into the carpet. This time, I was no longer the ex-wife they used to bully. Tonight, the debt would be settled. I stopped in front of Jason. He looked up at me, panic flickering in his eyes, mixed with a hint of defiance. Amanda lifted her tear-streaked face as well. Mascara clumped into messy streaks on her lashes. "Emily, what do you want?" Jason asked. His voice was softer than before, but there was still an edge to it. From my bag, I drew out a sheet of paper, the copy of our divorce agreement, and held it out to him. "The final payment from the divorce. It's time you paid up." Jason's eyes dropped to the document. His throat bobbed, but he didn't take it. "This isn't the right time," he muttered. "The hall's being cleared. Let's talk outside." "No need," I said firmly, pushing the paper closer. "Everyone here can serve as a witness." The people who hadn't left yet stopped in their tracks, some craning their necks to see the agreement more clearly. Jason's face palled even further. He reached out trying to push my hand away. "Emily, don't make a scene," he hissed. "You know my company's strapped for cash right now." "I know." I cut him off, "but that doesn't excuse you from paying what you owe me." The divorce agreement had spelled everything out clearly. Jason was to pay me the remaining $500,000 within 3 months. Today was the deadline. "What did you say back then?" I looked him straight in the eye. "You told me once the divorce was finalized, you'd transfer the money and I'd never have to bother you again. Now the 3 months are up and all you can say is your company's short on funds." Jason's hands clenched into fists, sweat dripping from his forehead and sliding down his cheeks, darkening the carpet with small, damp stains. Amanda tugged gently at his arm. Jason, maybe you should just pay her, she whispered, clearly afraid the matter would escalate further. Jason shot her a glare. Shut up, he snapped. This has nothing to do with you. Startled, Amanda recoiled, lowering her head in silence. Not far away, Mr. Gu stood quietly watching without stepping in. His assistant was beside him holding a phone that looked very much like it was recording. Jason noticed it too. He bit down hard then pulled out his own phone. Give me your bank account number, he muttered. I recited the numbers and he fumbled at the screen, his fingers trembling so badly that he mistyped several times. The hall was silent except for the sound of his unsteady tapping. 2 long minutes passed before my phone vibrated in my hand. It was a bank notification. 500,000, not a cent short. I glanced at the screen, then slipped the divorce agreement back into my bag. The money's received. From now on, we're even. We have nothing more to do with each other. Jason shoved his phone into his pocket. He didn't speak, only lowered his head, his shoulders sagging like a deflated balloon. A staff member approached. Mr. Chase, please make your way out. We need to begin clearing the hall. Jason rose to his feet without looking at me or Amanda, and walked straight toward the exit. Amanda scrambled up, brushing dust from her dress before hurrying after him. At the door, she turned back once. The defiance she once flaunted in her eyes was gone, replaced only by panic. I watched their backs disappear through the doors. I felt nothing in particular, neither hatred nor joy. It was simply the closure of something that had dragged on for far too long. Mr. Gu came over. It's settled, he asked. I nodded. Settled. That's good, he said. Let me drive you home. No need, I replied. I drove myself. He didn't press. Then be careful on the road. If anything comes up, call me anytime. He handed me a business card. Only his name and phone number were printed on it. I accepted it, tucking it into my bag. Thank you, Mr. Gu, he smiled. No need to thank me. We'll be working together in the future. It's only right we help each other. After saying goodbye, I walked toward the parking lot. The night breeze carried away some of the clinging smell of wine, while the shawl around my shoulders kept me warm. When I reached my car, I opened the door and glanced back at the building where the gala had been held. The lights had already dimmed. Everything that had happened tonight felt like a dream. But the bank notification on my phone was real, and so was the business card in my pocket. I slid into the driver's seat, started the engine, and drove out of the lot. Street lights slid past one by one in the rearview mirror as I gripped the steering wheel, a calmness settling inside me. From now on, the road was mine to walk, and I knew I would walk it better than before. The next morning, I woke early. Sunlight streamed into the bedroom, spilling across the floor. Reaching for my phone, I saw no new messages. I got up, went to the window, and pulled the curtains open. Downstairs, the breakfast shop had already opened with a line of people waiting for steamed buns. The steam rising high into the air. I changed into a business suit, picked up my bag, and headed out. Today, I was reporting for duty at the subsidiary. The first time I would work directly with Mr. Gu's team. When my car pulled up outside the office building, an assistant was already waiting. Chairwoman Shen, Mr. Gu's team has arrived, he said. I nodded and followed him to the elevator. In the mirrored walls, I caught sight of my own reflection, back straight, no longer the woman who once revolved around Jason. Inside the conference room, Mr. Goose's team was seated around the table. Leading them was a bespectacled man named Mr. Shas Zhang. Chairwoman Shen, sorry to keep you waiting, he said, standing to shake my hand. No need for formalities, I replied politely. Let's begin. Documents were spread out across the table, filled with dense text. As I flipped through the pages, my fingers brushed over a highlighted section. This project timeline, I said, I think it can be moved up by 1 week. Mr. Zhang blinked, then nodded quickly. We'll make adjustments and have a revised plan for you tomorrow. The meeting lasted 2 hours, not a single minute wasted. Every issue found its resolution. As it wrapped up, Mr. Zhang added, Mr. Gu specifically instructed us that if you encounter any difficulties, please reach out. Anytime. I smiled faintly. Thank you. We'll work well together. Back in my office, my assistant brought me a coffee.